안녕하십니까. 환경초대석 녹색을 듣는다의 오혜선입니다. 혹시 세계적 멸종위기종인 판다를 상징물로 쓴 로고를 보신 적이 있으신가요? 바로 세계 3대 글로벌 환경단체 중 하나인 세계자연기금의 로고인데요. 로고가 보여주듯 세계 곳곳에서 멸종위기 동물들의 서식지 보존구역을 지정하는 일로 유명합니다. 오늘은 세계자연기금 한국본부의 이사장님 장폴 페덱 씨를 모시고 이야기를 나눠보겠습니다. 네, 안녕하세요. 장폴 페덱 이사장님 반갑습니다.
안녕하세요.
우선 환경TV 시청자분들께 인사 말씀 부탁드리겠습니다.
Thank you. I come from, my name is Jean-Paul Padek. I have spent the past 18 years working with WWF around the world. And I've started working on Korea since 2011. I'm very happy that I've been involved, very fortunate that we've been able to open the new WWF Korea office this year in March, which is set up as a Korean foundation with a Korean board and a Korean team, international team.
네, 사실 시청자분들에게 WWF 세계자연기금이라고 하면 조금 생소하실 수도 있을 것 같은데요. 그런 이제 세계자연기금이란 어떤 활동을 하는 단체인지 소개 좀 부탁드릴게요.
So, thank you. WWF is represented by the panda. The panda is our logo, as you know very well. We chose the panda as our logo because it is a symbol of endangered life and the threats that exist on the planet, putting into peril the integrity of our habitats. WWF is a global scale conservation organization. We have about 100 offices around the world with about 5 million supporters. And our mission is the same as it was when we established WWF in 1961, 54 years ago, which is to stop the degradation of nature on the planet and work towards for a world where humans can live in harmony with nature. We have a number of strategies for this. The first one is to protect wild areas and wildlife. We're also working to decrease pollution around the world and also working to better manage the natural resources that we use and consume on a daily basis. WWF has evolved over the past 54 years. Originally, the focus was on species, which is why when we were created in 1961, the name was World Wildlife Fund with a focus on species. But that has evolved. Over the past 3 decades, we have come to realize that if we want to save life on Earth, we need to work beyond species. We need to work on the conservation of landscapes and habitats. We also need to work with the institutions, public and private, that have an impact on how natural resources are used, are consumed, but also produced. And we've decided to simplify things for everybody, and since 2000 we're putting the name has been simplified and we refer to our global conservation organization simply as WWF.
팬더도 저도 보지만 이제 저는 사실 세계자연기금 하면 코끼리가 가장 먼저 떠오르거든요. 이제 아프리카 코끼리들이 밀렵에 희생돼서 동남아시아 태국의 상하 밀거래가 되고 있다고 하는데 세계자연기금은 이 문제에 굉장히 적극적이신 걸로 알고 있어요. 그래서 지금 어떻게 진행돼 가고 있는지 궁금합니다.
WWF established the African elephant conservation program in 2000, and this was as a result of the threats that elephants were facing in Africa. And the thrust of this activity is to better manage the habitats where elephants exist, but also try to focus on the international threats that exist and that are threatening elephants. Last year, in 2013, over 20,000 elephants were poached, were killed because of the illegal trade in ivory. And this is really what WWF is trying to stop, in addition to improving the management of wildlife habitats for the benefit of elephants. And we do this in several ways. We work on protection and management strategies. We also work with governments and national park services in Africa, in West Africa, Central, East and Southern Africa, to improve the management strategies, to develop the capacity of park rangers, but also to improve the wildlife monitoring, to have a better sense of the illegal wildlife trade work, or the illegal wildlife trade that is threatening the existence of elephants in Africa. Elephant conservation can be done through different strategies. The first is really to reduce the conflict between humans and wildlife, between humans and elephants, and we do that by making sure that they can coexist peacefully, making sure that elephants do not threaten agricultural fields. And WWF has, and other organizations have developed simple techniques where you can spread tobacco and chili peppers and delimit agricultural fields with beehives so that elephants do not encroach on these areas that are used by humans. Another way that we have been able to value elephants and make communities realize that in fact nature and its wildlife are an asset was to develop tourism activities which valued wildlife and elephants as part of the tourism experience. The LIFE program in Namibia is one such example where we have been able to simultaneously protect wildlife, protect elephants, and at the same time increase the revenues of local communities. And it has been a tremendous success, one of the most successful programs that WWF has implemented for wildlife conservation around the world.
네, 이제 한국본부로 시선을 돌려보겠습니다. 저는 한국본부가 지난 3월에 설립된 걸로 알고 있거든요. 네, 지금 한국에 특별히 설립하게 된 계기가 있으신가요?
WWF Korea was established in March 2014. It's been a very happy event for us. We were very fortunate that the Ministry of Environment invited us and accepted to host the establishment of WWF Korea, and I thank the Korean people and the Korean government for allowing the opening of WWF Korea. But WWF has actually been working in Korea for about 10 years. We have been working on the western coast of Korea in the Yellow Sea. This is a program that has been implemented by various WWF offices, and the focus is on marine conservation as well as wetland conservation. So in Korea, we are focusing in the South Jeolla province, in the Muon wetland area, and together with our Korean partners, including KIOST as well as the Eco Horizon Institute, we have identified priority areas which can become marine parks. The other reason that we have established an office here in Korea is to carry out our work more effectively. Climate change is a problem that affects you and me and all of the people in Korea as well as around the world, and will affect future generations. And we believe that such global problems need to be resolved at a local level. And in order to tackle these issues, we can address some of the solutions much more effectively by having a permanent presence here in Korea.
네, 말씀 잘 들었고요. 한국본부 설립 후에 이제 한국의 상황들에 대해서 지켜보셨을 텐데 환경보전이란 측면에서 한국의 점수를 매긴다면 10점 만점에 몇 점 정도 주실 수 있으실까요? 기왕이면 그 이유도 함께 설명 부탁드립니다.
As you know, Korea is hosting some very important institutions. The Green Climate Fund is established here in Korea, as is the Global Green Growth Institute. This is a difficult question. It's not easy to score Korea for its actions because it really depends what you're measuring. In certain areas, Korea is very much a leader at a global scale in terms of its conservation actions, particularly its leadership on climate change, as well as green climate financing. It also has hosted a very important international conference, which is a symbol of its commitment to mobilizing the world for a better planet. The recent meetings of the Convention on Biological Diversity that took place in Pyeongchang last month are an example of that, and the meeting that will take place in Daegu in April of 2015 are another example of Korea's commitment to move our global conservation agenda forward. So on all of these efforts, I would score Korea a very high score, 8 or 9 or 10 for that commitment. But there are areas where Korea can do better as well.
아, 그렇군요. 네, 한국에서는 그럼 앞으로 어떤 활동들에 집중하실 계획이신가요?
WWF believes that we can have a world with 100% renewable energy by 2050. And currently there are plans to increase the number of nuclear power plants in Korea. And we believe that that same investment could be reinvested in renewable energies, in solar, in wind, in hydro, in biofuels, or a mix of all of these that could make Korea a leader in renewable energy. WWF Korea will focus its actions in two areas. First, biodiversity conservation, and second, a number of actions on what we call footprint issues. On the area of biodiversity, we will focus our activities on species conservation, mainly through the work to combat illegal wildlife trade, as I mentioned earlier. Illegal wildlife trade is a global problem. It is an industry. It is organized crime. And it's important that every country around the world get involved, raise awareness about the species that are threatened, species that are iconic, that are important for everybody. Korea has a role to play in contributing to this, to stopping this illegal activity. We are also going to be working on conservation of marine and wetland areas, ideally through partners, local NGOs that are present on the ground and that we can support. On the biodiversity side, our focus will be principally on renewable energy and climate change awareness. And we plan to do this through a series of programs like the Earth Hour campaign that we run every year. But every year we will try and deliver a much more targeted and focused message to get people to act. We are also going to be addressing these renewable energy and climate change issues by carrying out our Earth Hour City Challenge, which is a global competition around the world where about 150 cities are competing against each other in about 15 to 20 different countries to develop very ambitious strategies to reduce their CO2 emissions, whether it's from procurement to transport to construction to policies. And WWF is participating and implementing this program with ICLEI, which is an NGO that is present here in Korea but also working globally. And together we are managing this Earth Hour City Challenge competition. WWF Korea would like to deepen its analysis and understanding by developing some policy reports and analyses that will help us better understand what is the nature of the problem and try to develop some recommendations for decision makers.
네, 말씀 잘 들었고요. 제가 세계자연기금의 활동에 관한 소식을 간간히 접할 때 지속 가능한이라는 표현을 많이 들었거든요. 네, 세계자연기금에서 관점에서 보시는 지속 가능한 어업, 지속 가능한 도시는 어떤 것을 뜻하는 건가요?
Overfishing is one of the biggest threats to fish stocks within Korean waters, but internationally. At a global scale, our oceans are facing a global collapse of fisheries. And this is something that we need to address at every level, through actions by governments, through actions by private sector companies involved in the fishery sectors, through the actions of NGOs to raise awareness about this global fisheries collapse, but also through the action of individuals like you and me who can have an impact on the food that we choose to purchase. And by choosing the right products, we can also influence markets and basically shift the trend away from this global fisheries collapse to one that is much more sustainable. WWF proposes a sustainable approach to fishing. The biggest threat today that we face in the fishing sector is illegal fishing. Just like illegal wildlife trade is threatening our biodiversity, illegal fishing is threatening our fisheries stock at a global level. This is what we call IUU fishing, or illegal, unreported, unregulated fishing. The IUU fishing represents a big threat to food safety and to our ability to reverse this global fisheries decline. Korea is at the center of this problem because it has been listed by the United States as an IUU nation, and the EU has also pre-designated Korea as an IUU nation.
네, 이를 한국에도 적용하려면 어떻게 해야 할까요?
We also need to try and influence the way that Koreans are consuming. And I believe that there's a lot that needs to be done here in terms of influencing the way consumers are purchasing fish. There is a certification scheme, an eco-label that has been developed by WWF in the late 1990s called the Marine Stewardship Council, MSC, which basically tells the consumer that by purchasing a product, they are contributing to a healthy planet because they are assured that the fishery comes from a well-managed fishery fished by companies that are not carrying out illegal activities. So this is a very positive step. And today we need to increase the demand by Koreans for these MSC Marine Stewardship Council certified products.
네, 말씀해주신 목표를 달성하기 위해서는 이제 한국의 정부나 다른 단체들과 협력이 중요할 것 같은데요. 다른 단체들과의 협력은 어떻게 구상하고 계신지요?
In the past 3 to 4 years, WWF has been working with companies like Dongwon, which is the largest tuna producer in the country, to try and identify measures and strategies to contribute to this sustainable fishing challenge that we face. We have had a very positive dialogue which has led to Dongwon joining in October 2012 the ISSF. The ISSF is the International Seafood Sustainability Foundation, which brings together the majority of canned tuna producers around the world. And it's not an easy thing to join ISSF. It takes a lot of efforts to make sure that you are adhering to all of the best standards that have been identified by this organization. WWF Korea will be working with governmental institutions, with NGO partners, with the public, in the business sector, to try and advance sustainability. WWF is about life on Earth. WWF is about sustainability, and we want to identify those partners that are interested in moving that agenda forward. At a global scale, we have partnerships with international organizations such as the UN, such as the World Bank or IUCN, as well as the Global Environmental Facility. And these institutions will be our partners here in Korea as well. We work with governments throughout the world, but here in Korea as well. We hope to develop good collaboration as we have thus far with the Ministry of Environment as well as the Ministry of Oceans and Fisheries to try and tackle some of these difficult issues.
이제 마지막 질문입니다. 사실 많은 국민들이 전 세계적 문제에 대해서는 조금 관심이 떨어지거든요. 네, 환경 문제란 이제 모든 국민이 전 세계가 같이 고민해야 될 문제라고 보고 있는데요. 이제 세계자연기금이 보는 지구적 관점이란 무엇인지 설명 부탁드립니다.
WWF strives for what we call a one planet future. In short, a future where people can live in harmony with nature. It's very simply said, but it's a very challenging proposal. The well-being of people is intimately linked to the health of nature, and this is what we need to address. Make sure that our biodiversity is healthy, make sure that our footprint is decreasing so that we can live on the natural resources of one planet. Today, we are living on the natural resources of 1.5 planet, and we need to shift that very quickly so that we can sustain a one planet lifestyle now and for future generations.
네, 말씀 잘 들었습니다. 저도 앞으로는 지구적 관점에서 생각할 수 있도록 노력해야겠다고 생각되네요. 네, 오늘 귀한 시간 내주셔서 감사합니다.
감사합니다.
네. UN 보고서에도 나오지만 우리가 지금처럼 산다면 앞으로 지구가 1개 반이 더 필요하다고 합니다. 다 같이 사는 지구, 세계 자연기금의 활동처럼 우리들도 삶 속에서 환경 속에서 실천할 수 있는 작은 실천들을 할 수 있길 바라봅니다. 환경초대석 녹색을 듣는다. 오늘 여기서 마치겠습니다. 고맙습니다.